Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. I'm very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. Hello and welcome to Thursday's edition, yes, Thursday's edition of the dceu Daily. And of course, it's the big elephant in the room. The Birds of Prey reviews are in. And they're really wholeheartedly positive. Now, I'm going to read you in very shortly some of these reviews. Now, I ain't going to be biased. There's going to be some reviews that are going to be a little bit unhappy with certain elements of the film. But the point is, it's looking like Birds of Prey's got like 90% on Rotten Tomatoes or just below that. Look, it's very, very good. Now, listen, I understand. There's films that critics say are great movies that I can't stand. Look. But we are the same. Us ordinary people who just go to the cinema and love movies and TV shows and escapism, we understand what these people are. We get it. But at the end of the day, I am a DC fan. I'm a big fan of the dceu cinematic extended universe, whatever you want to call it. And I just want these bozos to say good things about the franchise that I support because it helps us with box office, and it keeps them making more DC films, content like Black Adam. We're going to get the JSA and awesome and exciting things. So to me, these people are just a means to an end. I know I sound such a cold, virtuous SOB, don't I? But it's true. So let's read some of these. And after we finish talking about Birds of Prey, we'll be talking about Warner Brothers and HBO Max creating a new production banner for their cheaper budgeted movies for HBO Max, and how some people from the Release the Snyder Cut movement believe this is an opportunity to persuade Warner Brothers to put the Snyder Cut version of the Justice League on the new streaming platform coming out later this year. That's coming up, but let's talk about Birds of Prey. Birds of Prey, what the critics are saying. Margot Robbie's return to Harley Quinn is a stylish, violent affair, according to reviews. The first superhero movie of the year is just around the corner, although it could certainly be argued that Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn is far from what audiences expect from a superhero movie. Well, they're not superheroes, but they're comic book characters, and people kind of bash them in the same box, and that's fine. With Margot Robbie returning to the role of Harley Quinn for something that's part Suicide Squad spin-off, part solo vehicle and part launchpad for the all-new team of all-female superheroes, Birds of Prey has a lot of heavy lifting to do in introducing an all-new cast, satisfying fans of the popular Harley Quinn, and proving itself to an audience uncertain if there's even a space for a new super team in the wake of last year's Avengers Endgame. These journalists do talk utter nonsense, don't they? So we should never see a team up because of Avengers Endgame again. Shut up. Just shut up. Anyway, perhaps surprisingly, pre-release reviews appear to suggest that the movie is successful in its missions, even if things aren't entirely ideal. This is another thing that critics say. It's not a perfect movie. Have you ever sampled, seen a piece of art, or watched a movie or TV show, or anything made by human hands that is totally perfect? No. We carry on. Director Kathy Yan writes, The Hollywood Reporter's John DeFar finds plenty of opportunities for exciting set pieces. Extravagant action choreography makes most of the colour set design, unlikely gimmicks and razzling style brutality, but Christina Hodgson's script offers far less diverting banter than it might have between the fight scenes, and it has a hard time imagining the unconstrained that makes Harley Quinn so magnetic. One or two beautiful sequences, like the one in which Harley's longing for a perfect breakfast sandwich leads to tragedy, don't suffice to keep the character's magnetic madness alive on screen. I totally disagree with this, but this is the thing, they've got to find something negative to say. What you'll find with reviews is they've got a balance in them, because even if they don't want to say something or they don't really believe it, they've got to find something. When you're digging deep to find something negative to find, you really are in trouble. But I don't agree with that. Matt Singer of Screen Crush was similarly disappointed in the writing. Look, Christina Hodgson is a great writer and she's proved that already, please. Novelty goes a long way in this world, and Birds of Prey has a fair amount, along with plenty of punk rock attitude. I do wish it had a bit more interest in its characters, and specifically Harley herself, since the movie is ostensibly about her emancipation from this awful guy. Singer argues. The story churns through subplot after subplot, but Harley doesn't really resolve those issues so much as she forgets they existed in the first place. Of course, it's sort of tough to resolve those issues when the person who caused them is MIA. Exactly, Matt. You just contradicted yourself, didn't you, mate? Is the Joker truly missed? However, most critics seem to argue not. Look, the Joker's always missed, but this really isn't his story, so it really doesn't matter. So there's no point making an issue out of it. Appreciation of the cast internal dynamic. Director Kathy Yan and writer Christina Hodson Bumblebee have created a fun, girls rule, guys draw ethos, suggests USA Today critic Brian Tripp. In one action scene you won't see in an Avengers film, Harley bonks a random henchman in the head with a hammer before handing a hair tied to Dinah, aka Black Canary, so her long locks don't get in the way of frame down. Dinah and Helena, on the anti-throwing with rage issues, who goes by Huntress, are as essential to Bird's working as Harley, and some of the best stuff comes when Yan has these women just sitting around, drinking margaritas or waiting for the laxatives to kick in. Empire. Ian Freer agrees, writing, "It's so much fun when the group finally comes together. It feels like a misstep not getting them together sooner and more often. Save Harley, the characters aren't deeply drawn, they were never supposed to, but they are winningly played. Journey Smollett Bell is authentically hard as nails. Mary Elizabeth Winstead is funny as an assassin who takes umbrage that people get her superhero name wrong. And Rosie Perez reminds you she's not in nearly enough movies. But the MVP is Robbie, obviously, who lends Harley's charming quirk and believable menace, hinting at Harley's inner life without reams of dialogue. As fun as the character interactions may be, however, they are not the highlight of the movie. It seems with Alex Abad Santos of Vox putting it like this, yet with how effective Birds of Prey's multiple thrilling action sequences are, it would have been better to cut some of those flabbier attempts at substance instead. The film would be better served by fully leaning into the uncomplicated John Wick-like satisfaction of devilishly cool women unleashing crunching brutality, like breaking a single leg in 3 different directions. As in sublimely entertaining and orchestrated fight scenes, there's nothing wrong with a movie that favours style over substance, and Birds of Prey is a prime example how sometimes substance is overrated. Indeed, the style of the movie was commented on by many. Yan and her expert director of photography, Matthew Libatic, Black Swan, A Star is Born, have a clean and steady eye for action, as do the editors Jay Cassidy and Evan Schiff, notes Los Angeles Times. Of course, they're not mentioning the guy who does the action sequences for John Wick, but of course, he's the one who's responsible for anything actiony, but they're not really going to mention him, mainly because the studio don't want to, plus they want to give the other people credit. Anyway, Los Angeles Times critic Justin Chang, together with a crew that includes costume designer Eleanor Beach, the Neon Demon, and the production designer K.K. Barrett, known for his innovative work with Spike Jonze, they enliven the relentless, groin-smashing, bone-crunching mayhem with a periodic burst of gaudy colour, including Harley's tinselled popcorn sleeves, as well as the muffled eruptions of smoke and glitter, with a soundtrack of busy, dreamy pop covers like Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend or Hit Me With Your Best Shot. It's all as tasty, chewy and disposable as bubblegum. I don't know if that's a compliment or a put down. According to the Daily Dot's Govia Baker Whitelaw, the real visual draw is the action sequences. Well done, Chad. With Yan and cinematographer Libatique creating a wonderfully smooth way of exploring hand-to-hand combat scenes, outshining the trend for choppy editing in many superheroes movies. Well done, Chad. My favourite moment was when Harley obliterated a squad of goons with a baseball bat, a scene that positively screamed Margot Robbie is doing her own stunts. Fight scenes look better when you can actually see and appreciate what's going on. Who knew? James Whitbrock of IO9 agrees, calling the fight sequences increasingly intense and bombastic moments of action that stand out as soon as of the best in the entire DC cinematic. Whatever that says. Gone are the CGI-enhanced, uber-destructive, superpower-laden brawls of prior films, replaced by tight, kinetic, grounded spurts of violence with the occasionally zany bit of comic book flair. Let me say something. This type of action is awesome, and so is the CGI. One isn't better than the other, and one isn't replacing the other. But everyone has to put something against something else. It's so utterly frustrating, isn't it? It all makes Birds of Prey sound like a good old-fashioned piece of garnished action comedy. Then that's probably the point, perhaps. The Guardian's Peter Bradshaw sums it best. The film is a blitz of bad taste, cool copia of Crass, and it's weirdly diverting, more than you might expect. Given the frosty way Suicide Squad was received critically and engagingly crazy, watching it feels cheerfully excessive and unwholesome, like smoking a cigarette and eating a chocolate bar at the same time. So those are the thoughts of the critics. So basically, they're saying this isn't a deep piece of Shakespeare, but it's a lot of fun and it's an awesome film. Basically, it may not sound like it, but this is as positive as critics are going to get about a film like Birds of Prey. Basically, they're saying it's garnish, but that's what the film is. It's basically right. If you want to forget them, because they're a bunch of snobbish critics, but ultimately their reviews have given, the Rotten Tomatoes score rating 90%, and that's all I care about. It's a positive buzz, but no, it's not Shakespeare. So what is the film? What are the undertone morals of this film? Now, I suppose if you're a feminist or a third wave feminist, you're going to talk about girl power and what happens when you break up with someone and coming with the girls and finding people who have been treated like that. But I look at it as a universal human being story. It's when a bunch of people have been treated really, really badly and they find each other and they've got that rejection and that damage in common together, and they come together and one of them's got a problem and they help each other out and they become a kind of family. So it's a beautiful kind of moral, but I'm sure Margot Robbie and her all-female production company look at it as a third-wave female movie where a bunch of women have been hurt by men, and then these men are going after them, trying to kill them, and it's their excuse to kind of take out their frustrations out on these men. Either way, it's a fantastic piece of entertainment. It's a fantastic piece of cinema. Cinema can be entertaining, it can be enthralling, it can be educational, it can be the MCU, it can be whatever you want it to be. But you don't have the right to say, this is cinema and that isn't cinema. And even though I laughed when my old mate Marty Scorsese was saying about the MCU, it's not true. The MCU is cinema, because cinema can be anything you want it to be, as long as the most important thing is that you personally enjoy it. So it's really, really great to see these positive reviews, mainly positive reviews. There's loads of reviews. I can find glowing reviews. I could sit here all day. But basically, all you need to know is that Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn is a winner with the critics. And as I say, we know who the critics are, we know what they are, but it doesn't matter. It's got a really, really good score on Rotten Tomatoes, and the fandom menace have jumped to something else. And that's what we're going to talk about next. So, oh dear, dear, dear. How do I start? Now, I've spoken about this before, but I'm going to have to be a lot more vocal about my opinion about this. Amber Heard, Amber Heard, Amber Heard. That's what we're all talking about on the internet. I don't want to hide from this issue. I think it's important to talk about this issue. So what do I think? So about a week ago, we heard a recording of her losing her temper and admitting that she hurt Johnny Depp. Here's the thing. Now everyone's jumped on this. It's great, when men are attacked, nobody cares and it's all about women. I get it, and I get that side of it. But it's an agenda, because here's the problem. we only know one side of the story now, don't we? We don't know if Amber Heard hurt him because he hurt her. Now, I told you a few editions of the DCEU Daily ago that I believe this was a very violent, aggressive, abusive relationship, and I believe that both of them were landing some punches. That's what I believe. That's what I believe. But I don't know. Look, their relationship is not my business. But there has been a petition with around 100,000 signees asking to remove Amber Heard as Mira in Aquaman 2. So this is when I start talking about it because it affects me and the DC movies I'm excited about, right? Amber Heard was a great Mira. Whether you rate her as an actor, whether you think she's, one of the best actors in the world, which she clearly isn't, or if you think she's just there for show, it doesn't matter. Warner Brothers will make a decision on this, and you can bet your bottom dollar they're discussing it. I don't think they'll get rid of her. I think Mr. H's reviews said something really good. They'll probably just reduce her role. But look, reducing her role is pointless. You either stick with her or you move her away from the production. Clearly, Amber Heard has got anger management issues. She has it looks like she's done a lot of things to Johnny. But obviously, these are people who both need help, and I want them to get the help they need and then continue with their career, and that's my opinion, because this is something else, right? Already we've got fans suggesting new actors for the part of Mira. Okay, let's look at it from this point of view, right? So we bring someone else in, right? But then we find some skeletons in her closet. Then we do a petition about her. Then we find someone else and we find skeletons in her closet. But then we want her removed because we're so utterly perfect, aren't we? We have never done anything wrong. Nobody knows your secrets, do they? Nobody knows what you do every day. And they're your secrets and they're your right, because we are flawed people and we do atrocious bad things all the time. But nobody wants to know about them because we're not part of the entertainment industry. And you may say, well, that comes with the territory. No, human beings are flawed, right? Amber Heard is flawed and she needs our understanding and our help. She needs to talk to someone professionally to help her with her temper, not sacked from her job. That's not going to help anyone, right? Now, people are accusing her of falsely accusing Johnny Depp of domestic violence. I don't know what's true and what's not. I don't know. But whatever the case is, the lady needs help, not sacking from her job, because clearly she has some psychological issues, doesn't she? But sacking her and wanting to punish her because, more men than women cause domestic violence. But however few women cause domestic violence, or however men, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. This situation comes from anxiety, from fear. And let me be clear here. It's not right. It's not okay for you to bully someone and treat someone in those utterly disgusting terms. But at the end of the day, punishing people but not solving the problems of society isn't going to get us anywhere. And even more women and men will suffer from domestic abuse if we don't get to the root of our societal problems. So this petition, all it does is want to punish Amber Heard because we're in a cultural war. That's what it's really about. Haven't you noticed the fandom menace have gone from attacking birds of prey? They're not talking about that anymore. Now that all the custard pies have been rubbed in their faces from the reviews, right? And they know, and they've gone quiet because they know the box office is going to be pretty solid as well. So they're going on to poor Amber Heard. They want to destroy this poor woman, this poor, let's potentially mentally ill woman, right? They want her punished. Instead of saying, you know what, Warner Brothers, maybe you should remove her, get her the help she needs. Maybe that would be a better tack, even that. But let's punish this one. Let's punish that one. Let's punish everyone. Let's all stand in the middle of the street, put our hands up and admit we are all flawed human beings. But no, all this crap that happens in the public eye, in the entertainment industry, it diverts us from our own flaws and our own faults, doesn't it? And it makes us feel so morally superior, doesn't it? Well, I'm not, and neither are you. And finally today, I know I have to go from that because I was getting a bit annoyed about it. I hate it when people think they're superior to other people. It just winds me up. Anyway, right. So it's come out that Warner Brothers and HBO Max will form a separate production company for their low budgeted costed movies for the HBO Max streaming platform. And basically why I'm even talking about this is because Snyder fans are going on Twitter, hashtagging Release the Snyder Cut, and asking Warner Brothers to put Release the Snyder Cut into this banner, the Snyder Cut of Justice League, into this production banner. I did the same thing because I want to see the Snyder Cut, and I will do or say anything to make that happen within reason, as long as it's constructive and polite and it's not bullying. I don't see how this works. Basically, I don't see why you would put. I mean, even if Snyder's movie still needs some work doing, that would probably be over the budgeted kind of amount that this production company has been formed for. So I don't really see how this works. But fighting for the Snyder Cut to be released on HBO Max is great, and anything that pushes kind of the envelope of this campaign is fantastic. And there is one thing I want to talk about, the Release the Snyder Cut movement. Apparently some people who are entering the poster competition are being bullied. Stop it. Please stop it. It's ridiculous. Just enter your poster art and move away. It doesn't matter who's entered. And if you don't like this person, you look like a bully. And you make us and our movement collectively look like we're a bunch of loons who just bully each other over every single differences we have. So stop it. And please stop it now. So everyone, are you excited that Birds of Prey has had all this positive feedback, or are you not interested in Birds of Prey? What do you think? Have you seen Birds of Prey like I have? I think it's an amazing film. I really do. Look, in terms of the dceu, it's an amazing film in terms of its entertainment value. Those reviews are right. It is mostly garnish, but that's what films are anyway of this type. Do they look great? Yes. Do they feel great? Do they entertain you? And if they do, that's all that matters. And sometimes films are a deeper cut, like BVS or the Joker movie. You see, so you can have these different movies on these platforms, in these franchises, and I think that's why I love the dceu, because every film is different to the last. From Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, Justice League, Aquaman, Shazam and Aquaman are so different to each other. And then the Joker movie, and I know that's not part of the dceu as far as we know, so they're all different, and that's what I like. It's such a diverse list of films, and really that's all you can ask from a franchise. That is entertaining, diverse, and a variety of movies that interests each person, and different elements of the fandoms and people going to see them as well. So please like, share and subscribe. Please comment down below. Please share the channel, share the video, and I'll be back tomorrow with even more DCEU Daily. I'm sorry if I offended anyone with my little rant. It's just the way I feel.